informative. It's just, I've been on it many times for some game shows. But if you can, go search and look up and follow the Ben Maller Show. I really encourage you to do that. The second one is a show that follows it after on Fox Sports. It's a show called Outkick the Coverage, and the host is a gentleman by the name of Clay Travis. And why I love this show so much, Clay is very opinionated, and I certainly don't agree with all his opinions. But where I have nothing but the utmost respect for him is he tackles subjects that our society shies away from. Because if you express an opinion on some things, it's so polarizing that you're going to be kind of ostracized, and I just don't believe in that. I believe in having conviction, and if you have an intelligent conversation and you have some reason for stating what you do, you can't be accused of any wrongdoing. And Clay Travis has done this on multiple occasions, and he tackles race on several occasions. And all he's really asked for is saying, hey, let's just be real with each other. And let me give an example of something recently that happened. So there was a shooting, not the crazy shooting out in Las Vegas where the gunman killed 50-something people. There was a shooting out in Vegas, and there was a NFL football player by the name of Michael Bennett. And Michael Bennett was questioned by the police because of how he was behaving and acting in the moment. Now, what's funny to me is Michael Bennett does a lot of good. Apparently, he's got many charities and is very giving to the community. He's not in Seattle anymore, but he was. So there's a guy that does so much positive stuff. And when he got questioned and detained, I'm not sure what was going through his mind, but he decided that he was going to scream injustice, and that he was profiled, that he was going to advance his cause by saying how he was profiled as a black man in Vegas during the shooting. And of course, every news station wanted to cover this abhorrent behavior, and how could the Las Vegas police do this. And right away they were criticized, and then you do a little bit of investigating into it, and you find out that, first of all, these weren't white police officers on a black man. These were minority police officers on a black man. So to me, that takes some of the element of racism out of it, that you're screaming and trying to pour gas on the fire. And then when the Las Vegas police does their investigation, it comes out to be that they did everything absolutely by the book. There was no form whatsoever of any profile and racism. They treated him with dignity and respect, and yet this man still came out and tried to further his agenda by saying this. Now, that's one thing if you want to look at Michael Bennett and say, hey, shame on you. But what I have to laugh about, and what Clay Travis did such an amazing job of calling out, was, where are all the news organizations that were so quick to blazon this on the front page, on the headlines, and lead their newscasts with this racial profiling of Michael Bennett? Once it was found out that it was erroneous, you heard nothing, right? And again, the power of words and the power of screaming these things is just insane. And to Clay Travis's, benefit, or not benefit, to where he gets my respect, is he talks about this. And much like myself, I don't think he's claiming that racism doesn't exist, but I think you actually, when you're trying to propose or forward an agenda based upon false claims, you actually do that agenda more of a disservice. And again, that's kind of why I'm just kind of going off today a little bit, is if we just look at economic factors before we look at racial factors, if while we're sitting in our middle class homes or our upper class homes and we see violent crimes committed, take a look and forget about the color of the person. Take a look and ask what their economic background is, because desperate people do desperate things. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's justified, I'm not saying we should feel sorry for these people, but maybe that in itself is what we need to focus on. Maybe that's where, whether it be an increase in minimum wage, whatever it might be, I don't know. But if we just look at it from that perspective, we just might see things differently. Maybe we don't see race like we do so quickly nowadays. One other thing I've done with my kids at a young age and was important to me, I took them to a few real poverty-stricken areas. One of them I took to was North Philly. If you go to North Philly and you go down by Broad Street there, you see some very tough living conditions for people. But I wanted to expose my kids to that because they need to get a perspective and appreciation that not everybody lives how they live. There are people that live a lot better and in a lot grander mode than they live in, and there's people that conversely live in a lot less of a happy, good, pleasant community. How would my kids react if they had to grow up on concrete sidewalks and didn't know some of the things that they know, whether it be video games or love or schooling that they have, and I think it's important to get that perspective for all of us, and even ask yourself, to the adults I'm talking to out there, when was the last time you guys drove through, when was the last time you guys walked through a real poverty-stricken area? It gives you different perspective. And that's what this whole journey for me is about, is opening people's eyes to things that they might not have been open to before. We all become ingrained in our own little world. We all become ingrained in hanging out with people of like mind and like income levels and like career levels. So how can I, as a middle-class, middle-aged white man, ever think I could understand what's going through a 17-year-old struggling economically person's head, white or black, right? And again, this has got nothing to do with color, because when I watch the TV show Cops, there's a whole lot of white people on there. And like I said, O.J. Simpson got away with a double murder, not because he was black, because he had money. Money's maybe the root of all evil, and money does make life a little bit easier at times, but I really think that if we just focus, before we mention color, before we mention race, before we mention religion, we include with as much merit and give as much credence to economic situation before we do that, and I think we will gain a whole different perspective on our society and where it's at. Again, it's not to justify it, it's not to applaud it, but I think that's where we need to really look at this thing. I don't know if I'm rambling today. I'm sure I am. I'm trying to get a point across, and I don't think I've done a good job of it at all today. I do want you to kind of go look, if you get a chance, listen to the Ben Maller show, just for the jocularity, just for the fun of it, just because it takes some of the seriousness of life away while still talking about topics. And then I urge you also to listen to the Clay Travis show, Outkick the Coverage. You are not going to agree with everything he says like you want to agree with anything everybody says. But you know what? I have to applaud this man because he's got a show and he can have sponsors that can pull on him any minute, the minute he says something to offend somebody. And I can virtually assure you that he offends somebody every day, because that's just the way our society is. But he's not afraid to go and address these issues. When Michael Bennett falsely tried to advance his agenda, nobody called him out for it, to the best of my knowledge, except for Clay Travis, and I applaud him for that. And the rest of the media, sometimes media picks up and follows and piggybacks. They didn't even do that. They had no problem giving, star headlines to this. Michael Bennett claims he was racially profiled story, but then when it comes out to be a falsehood, and we find out that these law enforcement folks that were so quick to condemn and criticize did everything proper and did everything right, where are all the people patting them on the back and saying job well done and shame on you for trying to falsely advance your agenda? The Las Vegas Police Department did, I don't know police work, but to me an outstanding job, and from everything the news reports have said after the fact, or at least what they've said, they followed themselves to the letter of the book and did an amazing job. And yet public perception is because this person screamed something, everybody ran to believe it without really investigating the facts. And that's kind of where I go with this. We judge people. We judge people based upon what somebody else said about them, or somebody who knew somebody said about them. We judge facts based upon things we know nothing about, because we've never lived it. We develop opinions that are simply just because. And that's one of the things, if you heard what I'm planning on doing on my trip and one of the journeys I'm going to take, I plan on heading down from Chicago to Ferguson, Missouri. I want to get in the community. I know there are people I've told about this, and the first reaction is, oh, your safety. Look, I'm going to be fine, guys. All right? People aren't going to come after me because I have a difference of opinion or because I'm a different color. I want to get in there, and I want to put, as one of the chapters of my book, I want to talk about that. I want to talk to people on both sides of the fence. I want to see people that lived it. How can I express an opinion about something if I haven't lived it? And that's what I urge you all. If you want to express an opinion about your life and those people close to you because you live it, then you absolutely have every right, in my opinion, to do so. But before we just start hearing something over here and crusading for or against something, let's find out the substance first. Let's find out the meat and the potatoes. Our society does a really bad job of that. We love to just throw gas on a fire, and I would much rather hear what's going on and try to put the fire out. So I don't think I did a good job at all today. I touched on a subject which I'm sure is going to be polarizing to some, but the end thought I want you to think about is, before you see color, before you see religion, before you see sexuality, before you see any of that stuff, ask yourself where these people are coming from in terms of an economic background. And I guarantee you, more often than not, you're going to realize that people are coming from a lower income area, a poverty, not stricken, but a poverty-based area. And if you've lived in a poverty-based area and you want to cast judgment on people's behavior, then you can say you've been there. But to the vast majority of my friends, my family, people I know, they've never been. They never went out and delivered a mattress and heard a young boy say, I have to sleep in a hamper of dirty clothes just to stay warm. Live that, guys. Live that, and then cast your judgments, okay? So, I know I rambled on today. This is my last long talk. I wanted to get this topic out there because if I expressed it properly, and I didn't do a good job, but if I expressed it properly, I think a lot of people would step back and go, wait a minute, you know what? Let me look back at my life. And no, I can't really say I could ever put myself in that situation. What would I do if I had a $130 million contract possibility waiting for me versus staying in AAA my whole life? What would I do if I run the risk of going to jail for, 6 to 18 months if I get caught, or being able to pay bills that my family hasn't been able to pay in 15 years? When you live those circumstances and then you take the moral high ground and you do the right thing, then absolutely pat yourself on the back and be proud of the character and who you are. But it's really, really difficult, not having been in that situation, to pass judgment, and yet we all do it. And that's what I'm hoping, before you pass judgment the next time, you just stop for just 3 seconds and just give that some thought. If you can do that for me, you can do that for yourself, maybe, just maybe, one person at a time will change this world a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, thanks guys for listening. I love you. I am Kira, Grace, Landon. I love you guys so much. I still got you watching. Oh, goodness, I lost something. I gotta get that. I must be home in bed. I gotta get that ready. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great day. This will be the last of any real long topic I talk about. It's going to be about the people from here on out. I am going to be on Good Day Pennsylvania live today between 12:30 and 1. It's ABC News out of Harrisburg. I believe there's a live stream, so even if you're not in the central PA area and you want to follow, but guys, keep pointing the thumb at yourselves. It means so much to so many people in different ways. Ask yourself what it means. Please do that for me. The journey starts in 5 days. I lied to you. The journey starts in 4 days. Nervous, excited. Already can't wait to be done with it because I'm already missing my kids, but I also can't wait to be done with it because I cannot wait to be able to share some of these experiences with you guys, write the book, and I really believe and hope to change a little bit of our society, just a little bit, as we go. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry if today's content was not really strong, but I felt I had to get it out there. It was more for me. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, gang.